Hi everyone. Today we're going to be looking at rational expressions, and eventually in this chapter we're going to use these rational expressions to solve equations. Now a rational expression looks a lot like a fraction. That involves a polynomial in the numerator and or denominator. So when we're dealing with these, we're going to see a lot of polynomials and we're going to have to do a lot of factoring. So before we actually start the unit, we're going to practice factoring today, factoring our polynomials. And if we look at this next screen, we have 18 total polynomials that we're going to be factoring. All of these polynomials are going to be used in our examples for tomorrow's notes. So today I wanted you as an assignment to complete all 18 of these. But before you do that, I want to go over a few selected exercises here so you have an idea of what to expect and to refresh our memories. So the first one we're going to look at is x squared plus 7x plus 10. And if we look at this, when we factor these, we want to look at the first coefficient of x squared, so 1, and we're going to multiply it by 10, our constant. So 1 times 10 is 10, and we need to find two numbers that multiply to give us 10, that add to give us 7x. And those two numbers are going to be 2x and 5x. 2x plus 5x equals 7x, and 2x times 5x gives us 10x squared. So we're going to add these in. So basically we're just rewriting that 7x. And I'm going to go ahead and put that 10 and the x squared in front. Now when we do this, we're going to split the middle. So we're going to look at the first two terms and see what's common to both of those, and look at the last two terms and see what's common there. Now looking at our first two terms, we have x squared plus 2x. They have an x in common, so I can factor that out. So if I factor out an x, I'll have x times the quantity, x plus 2. If I look at the last two terms, I have 5x plus 10. They have a 5 in common, so I can factor out a 5 from both of those terms. If we have chosen correctly, the numbers in parentheses or the expressions in parentheses should exactly be the same, which they are in this case. So x plus 2 will be one of our factors, and x plus 5 will be the other factor. So this would be the factored form of x squared plus 7x plus 10. And that would be our final answer. Our next one we're going to look at is number 5, 12 minus 4x. Now notice the x comes after the number, and we're used to seeing the x first. So it is helpful if you go ahead and rearrange it so it's negative 4x plus 12. Now looking at our two terms, they have a negative 4 in common. So I can factor out negative 4 from both terms. If I take a negative 4 out of negative 4x, I'll be left with just an x. If I take a negative 4 out of 12, I'll have a minus 3 here. So this would be the factored form of 12 minus 4x. Next up is number 8. Number 8 is x squared minus 25. It's a difference of two squares. Now we have a formula, a squared minus b squared equals a minus b, a plus b. So I could think of this as x squared minus 5 squared, since 25 is 5 squared. And so that could be rewritten as x minus 5 times the quantity x plus 5. Now, if you forget about that rule, there is another option. We could think of this as being x squared plus 0x minus 25. So we'd have to think of two numbers that multiply to give us negative 25 that add to give us 0, which could be plus 5x minus 5x. And we have our minus 25 at the end. If we split the middle like we did before, I could factor out an x from the first two terms. And I could factor in -5 out of the last two terms. So I would still end up with the quantity x plus 5 times the quantity x minus 5. So both this answer and our answer up here are identical. And finally, I want to look at number 18, 2x squared minus 6x. At first glance, you might think that you have to factor this by split the middle, but we only have two terms. Now, both of terms involve an even number, so it's divisible by 2. You can factor that out. And that one is an x squared, the other is an x. So I can take an x out of both terms. Now, if I take a 2x out of 2x squared, I'm left with just x. If I take a 2x out of minus 6x, I'm left with minus 3. So that would be the factored form here. So I'd like you to work on the other examples, 1 through 18, and I'll post a PDF of those examples too, so you can look at it instead of going through the video. And finish those up for tomorrow. On tomorrow's lesson, we're going to use them to multiply and divide rational expressions. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.